is in a messy situation. As yule Messi mpiga mchapa kandanda. It's a very messy situation. I heard yesterday William Ruto akiwa Mombasa akisema that their economic model is working. I don't know how many of you saw that. When he bought a cow for 1 million shillings, and then he said the economic model is actually working. Now, how can it work when Kenyans who now live below the poverty line, and our brother Fred Matiang'i has been working at those levels of the World Bank and IFC, the Bretton Woods institutions, and somebody who cannot afford $1 per day is seen to live below the poverty line. $1 per day is today 128, 130 shillings. How many Kenyans today, clearly, yani tuambiane ukweli, ambao hawezi kabisa siku moja kupata shilingi 130? Ni wengi. So hiyo namba sasa imeteremka to levels that are not even describable. And yet tunaambiwa uchumi unafanya vizuri. Now let me tell you the truth. Kasongo's government is rated at just about 20%. I think I'm generous. I remember that 20% Governor Wavinya, because you see, when I was co-chairing NADCO, right? Remember NADCO? Which are now trying belatedly to do something about. That at least let us increase mgao wa serikali za counties kutoka 15 to 20. That is in our strong recommendation. But these guys are not even able to implement what they asked us to do. And they say the country is doing well. That actually is like living in a fool's paradise. And Kenyans are not foolish. Kwa hivyo, mimi nataka tujue kwamba wakati mmoja nilikuwa waziri wa elimu. My brother Matiang'i at some stage also became Minister for Education. There are several things we did in conformity with international statutes. At that time, we had a conference in Jomtien. That's a country, a place in Indonesia, when the world agreed to the concept of lifelong learning. So you really cannot stop going to school or learning. The Jomtien Declaration. And then at about that time, child rights were the issue, the main thing. So I had the privilege to outlaw, as Minister for Education, corporal punishment in all our schools. Well, I remembered also, as a Christian, the Bible tells me, you spare the rod, you spoil the child. Now we have to do a balance. The balance is, you do not have to use literally a cane to dismember a child, kumpiga kama mnyama wa porini na vitu kama hivyo. Even today, I'm sure there are some schools where corporal punishment is practiced differently. We did that. Just like we did start I actually appointed the first chief executive officer of the Higher Education Loans Board. And a lot of us in the leadership position actually went through that. We used to call it boom. During my time, it was 6,000 shillings or something. And it was useful. In addition, we used to have decent catering services at the university. CCU, Central Catering Unit. Today, even living standards in our public universities are in a pathetic situation. There's not much honor in being a university student. And yet I'm reminded by my brother Muturi when we were discussing. Those days when you qualified to go to university, I think Fred, you also mentioned it, your name would appear in the newspapers. Mpaka villagers wanaona unabeba gazeti yako inembu, they will go to buy from Kanyombora. One Kenya, one nation, one team. For one term. Sindio? So we cannot drive this narrative if we are going to have contradictions between ourselves. So our advice is to those working with us, we need to build one team. So that respect is so critical, so critical. let's not begin to dismember our unity even before we begin. And building coalitions, I can tell you, is the most difficult thing. So please, before you dismember, until then, after a year after that, he started to talk about the sacred coalition. Yani sacred, what is that Mukisha? Ile sacred. Kwa hivyo uhusiano wa ajabu huyu. Tukifanya uhusiano huu, tukibuni mambo yetu haya, jameni, tusiharibiane. I wanted to say that as a caution. And my brother Fred Matiang'i, as you all know, he looks strong. Hata akiingia hapa, told me the reason Kenyans love Matiang'i is because they think akichukua hivi kazongo ndani.